Hi, welcome to What's Cooking with Rochelle, and today we are making chicken pot pie. Yummy. So you can make this healthier version. This is like the legit taste delicious version. And I'll give you suggestions for substitutions if you want to make it a vegan or you just want to make it non-dairy. Okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to do two things to get started. We're going to turn our oven on and we're going to put it at 375 degrees. And I'm going to turn my skillet on to get that heated up a little bit, and then I'll be right back. Okay, so we got all that going. So on our cooking board here, what we're going to start with is our celery, carrots, and onion. And then we're going to put those in that skillet with butter. So here I have half a stick, which is 4 tablespoons of butter. So let me get that in there to get melted. And I'm going to start with my onion. So I have a white onion. You could use a yellow onion. I don't know if for this I would use a red onion. We are using about a medium size total. So I used a little bit of this the other day, but I think there's enough left. Okay, so you just want to chop it. So we're going to make some slices and then chop our slices. If you guys have watched me before, which hopefully you have, you know I've got all kinds of choppers and things, but I'm showing you, you can do this 100% yourself without really any equipment except a knife and a cutting board. So today we're going to, let me get this out of the way, be doing it pretty much old school. Once I get this half chopped, I'm going to dump it in the skillet and then chop the other half. So if you wanted to make it vegan, obviously you're not going to use butter. You could use coconut oil. You could use olive oil to saute the vegetables in. So whatever works best for you. You could make it with an alternative meat. They make plenty of options these days. When you see me throwing stuff out, I'm throwing out the skin part. Okay, so that part there looks pretty good. Let's go ahead and get this in our butter. And chop the other half. Okay, so we got all our onion chopped. We're going to go ahead and get our celery in there next. I'm just going to take the butts off, which is just the little part that's kind of, and to make it easier, we're going to chop them up like that and then just simply give it a quick All right, so let's get the celery in there with the onions. And let me give that just a quick little stir. Okay, on to our carrots. Now I've already taken the outside of the carrots off, and we are going to just do the same thing. Just make some pretty circles. Now you could leave them as circles, but for a pot pie that's probably going to be too big of a bite. So we're actually going to chop those up a little bit, and I'll show you here in a second. Run away, carrots. If you wanted to make them beautiful, I'll show you here with what we have left, what you could do to make them all the uniform size. Obviously, you could use a machine setting on your food processor, but if you didn't have a food processor, how you could do it. Okay, let me get these in the butter. Okay, so what you would want to do, if you wanted them to all be uniform, you cut it in half, cut that in half, and voila, you can see now we have unique, same size pieces. I'll do it again for you. So you take the two, and there you go. So we'll chop up the rest of this carrot here. That one's pretty big. Alrighty. We're going to add a half a cup of frozen peas. Okay, so on to the chicken. So I have 2 chicken breasts here that I cooked in water with a little bit of onion, celery, salt, and peppercorns. If you don't want to cook your own, you don't have to. You can go to the store in the deli department, how they have the rotisserie chickens, you could get one of those. They also have diced chicken that's already cooked in the frozen section of the grocery store. So you decide what makes the most sense for you. But we are just going to take this and make some slices and then dice it. Again, we have to make this so it's like bite-sized pieces because it's in the pie. Now you could shred it if you wanted, but you can see how it's done that pretty much on its own here by doing what we did. This one needs cut again. Okay. That was our oven letting us know it's ready. Now you do want to have your oven hot at temperature for at least 10-15 minutes prior to getting it in there, and that way it'll cook faster. Okay, so we're going to play switcheroo here. Put the chicken that's already diced into the bowl. Now I'm using a deep dish 9-inch pie crust pie bowl, and so if you have one that's not as deep, You're probably not going to need quite as much of everything. So maybe 2 things of celery, 2 carrots, a little bit less onion, maybe only 1 chicken breast, depending on how big they were. These were kind of big, so we might have more chicken here than we need. But it won't go to waste. We'll use it for something else. We're going to set this chicken aside. Okay, so we're ready to make the crust. We've got that sauteing. We're cooking it a little bit more than maybe you might think on the stove to make the cooking time in the oven less. So basically when it goes in the oven, the inside part's going to be ready and we're just going to be making to that the crust is going to be cooking. Okay, so we need a bowl. I have 2.5 cups of flour, again, because I have a deep dish. If you have a regular one, you only need 2 cups of flour. So for each cup of flour, you need 6 tablespoons of shortening. So I have a total of 15 here, again, because I have 2.5 cups. And then to this, we have 5 tablespoons of water. Now, sometimes you need to add a little bit more. We're going to play it by ear and see how it goes. So this is the fun part. You get to get in there and get dirty. Now, if you wanted to do a quick, easy way, obviously, you could buy a pre-made crust from the store and use that instead. If you didn't want to use a vegetable shortening, you absolutely could use a solid coconut oil, if you wanted to do vegan. You could also use butter, but we are using shortening, a vegetable shortening. Okay, so you can see this is starting to come together. All right, we are almost there, guys. Get all this back in the bowl. All right, let's put this out here. I'm just going to get it together. You don't want to make it too overworked. Okay. Now, break it up into 2 balls. Why 2 balls, you say? Because we need a bottom crust and a top crust. So, and they do not have to be exact in size at all. But you can see how I am making it into a round ball. And this is so that when you roll it out, it is a little bit more even. We're going to sprinkle just a little bit of flour. Put one of the balls in the center. Push it out and then turn it over. We're doing this to get the flour underneath it all. And before I get started, I'm going to go check on the stove. Okay, that's coming along nicely. To that, I am going to add 2 cups of chicken stock. And we're going to let that come back up to a boil, cook it, and then we're going to add the rest of the ingredients. So, as you know, we've made crusts on this show before. If you haven't checked out one of the other recipes, I've got quite a few with crusts that you can look at. I do have some alternative crusts, although for this type of recipe, I would stick to a pretty basic crust. If you didn't want to use a white flour, you could use a substitute for enriched white flour. And remember, we pull down from the center. And because we're going to be taking it off, it doesn't have to be an exact. Now I can tell the dough is just a hair too dry. That's why it's cracking. But it's all good. That's why it's doing that. So it's almost thin enough. I can see the circle underneath. So let's go ahead and get our dish. Remember, we've done this before. You grab one end. I'm right-handed, so I'm grabbing from this end. You simply just roll it up on your rolling pin, just like so. Grab your dish before you pick it up. Pick it up and just put it on the edge and unroll it. Then you lift the edge and set it down inside. Okay. Then you're just going to pat it down. Make sure we're all good there. This piece here is trying to fall. And then we're going to roll out the bottom. I'm going to take just this little extras off because we definitely don't need that all the way out there. Okay, so we got our top crust rolled out. I'm going to leave it like this for now because we need to finish what's going on over on the stove. Okay, so I have a cup of chicken stock and I've got flour, all-purpose flour. You could also use cornstarch. You want a thickener. Okay, so you could see how that thickened that right up. Now, I did have the stock hot. It will be easier to combine when that is so. We add this into the pot. And now it's time to add the chicken in there. We're going to add half a cup of heavy cream and we're going to balance it with salt and pepper. That's good. Sorry you don't get to eat it yet, anyway. All right, I have some fresh parsley here. This is probably about a third of a cup to a half a cup. And I'm just going to tear it into it. You could dice it. You don't have to use fresh. You could use dried as well. Okay, so it is ready to go in the pan. Now before I do that, I'm going to roll this one up to get it out of the way. So again, you grab, lift your mat. Now if you're using parchment paper because you don't have a mat, just do the exact same thing. Let's do this. This is heavy, guys, so I'm going to get a scooper. So you can see how it really thickened up. If you think it's too thick, you can add more stock or even just water. You could also add more milk. Like I said, I've made it many times without any dairy at all. We're getting it all in there, I think, maybe. We'll see. Let's see, I can get it. See if I can. That is an awesome full pie, huh, guys? Okay, get rid of this. We are simply going to top it. Stuck over there. And then you're going to pinch it with your thumb, remember, against your finger. Now, if you have they make this cute little tool that you can run around the edges and it pinches it for you. But if you want to get your frustrations out, give it a pinch yourself. Okay, and you can see that rest of that is just going to fall right off, just like so. And we are almost ready to go in the oven. I want to just cut a quick hole in the top, just a couple of vents. Okay, we're going to put this in our preheated oven. That's at 375 degrees. Depending on how much you pre-cooked it, determines how long it's going to have to take in here. If you didn't pre-cook your vegetables, it could take an hour. The way that we've made it, it should take about a half an hour. So I am going to clean up the rest of this mess, and I will see you back here in a half an hour. Ah, amazing. Ah, chicken pot pie. Yummy, yummy in my tummy. All right, let's get a little bit of everything. This is delicious. I know I'm prejudiced, but this is really good. Light flaky crust, soft moist chicken, cooked carrots. Delicious. Thanks for watching Chicken Pot Pie with What's Cooking with Rochelle. If you like this recipe, check out some of the others. I think you'll like them as well. And if you get a chance, please subscribe. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.